Welcome back to our World Cup preview for Group G now. G for the Germans, who are seeded, Portugal, USA and Ghana.
Alright, well, so let's go through all four teams, starting with 3 times champions Germany.
And one of the pre-tournament favourites, extremely strong outfit, quality all over the park.
Germany is a typical tournament team. They've made 12 semi-finals, more than any other team in the history of the World Cup, even more than Brazil.
Yeah.
19 World Cup, this will be the 19th World Cup. They've only missed out on one World Cup. And in qualifying, they finished in top spot, scoring massive 36 goals, more than any other team qualifying worldwide. So they're really they're ready for the World Cup.
And they always are, and they always perform, barring the odd anomaly. And the biggest thing for them, and I said this about Argentina as well, is to really. I think Argentina is much worse in this regard. Germany does tend to go further, but they don't. They haven't won for a long time. They haven't won something for a long time. And if you just look at their record from 2002, for example, second place, 2006 third place, 2010 third place, you know, it's always so second or third place.
So
Euros, if you count Euros as well, the last 12 years, it's just, I think they need to really make that step and actually.
Is it a mental issue? They can't take the final step when it comes to the crunch.
Well,
semi-final.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, some of those tournaments, especially the 2002 and 2006, they weren't expected to do as well as they did. But when they did, people were very, I suppose, surprised. So I wouldn't say that much of a choke, but I think now, especially, I think it's one of the best squads in the last 20 or so years. I think now it's just gone more and more talent, more and more depth. You know, we could be sitting here for 2-3 minutes listing all the players, and even some of the reserve players will walk into most teams. So,
I think fair to say this is probably Germany, one of the best German teams ever. In terms of the amount of talent, and also not just the quality of talent, but also the fact that there is so much of it across the pitch. Like every position is a decent player there. In those positions.
And you've got a mini Bayern Munich era happening. You've got the Bayern Munich core, and then you've got all these players from only the top cream of the crop European teams. You know.
Of course, obviously as well other teams such as obviously Borussia Dortmund as well, which dominated during football the last couple of years as well. So that also has contributed to the talent coming through. In terms of one player, or any player stands up for you, or any player who's really important, who would that be?
Oh, it's a tough decision. It's one player. You're talking about one player in that team.
Who would that be?
You have to say Mesut Ozil. He pulls the strings in the midfield. He's obviously he's moved to Arsenal now. Probably not his best season last year, but for Germany, just ever since I think 2010 World Cup, pretty much from then onwards, every single game for Germany, assist, goal, whatever, he's at the focal point. So I'd have to say him. Mesut Ozil.
I think for me, for this German team, right now. We all remember the young team into 2010. They went to the World Cup. A really young team. Everyone was pretty surprised that they chose such a young team to go to the World Cup. Now this same young team now is 4 years older, 4 years mature.
Pretty much the same players.
Pretty much the same players, exactly. So I think now they're entering the prime of their careers now, and I think they're ready for serious tilts at winning this World Cup. Now this is like a team which has a serious chance of winning that. Right up there with other big contenders for sure. So I expect big things from Germany.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. Moving on to the next country in this group, which is Portugal. They are entering just the 6th World Cup. Surprisingly low number. Semi-finalists on 2 occasions, 1966 and 2006. They finished second. Actually, they struggled to finish second in the group. They barely finished it.
Do you want to start the thing just staying?
Alright, so we'll start with Portugal.
We'll start
with Portugal.
Do you want to sort of cut it out?
So what happens now is that we'll start with Portugal now.
Okay, so we'll just cut it out.
See, I forgot about that. It's okay.
Okay, so let's move on to Portugal.
Yep, Portugal. So Portugal entering just the 6th World Cup, which is a very low number, which will probably surprise some. Semi-finals on 2 occasions, 1966 and 2006. They struggled to finish just second in the qualifying group.
One of the strangest things about Portugal is they're a tournament team. They struggle with this qualifying thing, but when they get into the tournament, they have reasonable success for the size of the country they are. They are a small country, don't forget.
Yep. So, look, Portugal, they got a decent team once again. Obviously, the main player by far is obviously Cristiano Ronaldo, the Ballon d'Or winner from last year. The thing is that for Portugal, one of the weakest points I find is actually the forward line.
Exactly, there's no support for Ronaldo.
Apart from Ronaldo, no, all due respect to like Postiga, to Almeida, they're not the same quality. And,
of course.
And Ronaldo really has to take a slack here because he will have to take on the role and get those goals for the team.
For sure, and during those 2 crucial playoff games against Sweden, the coach just did not trust either of those 2. He sort of put Ronaldo in a role pretty much like a striker sort of role. He just didn't think in the game. So it's concerning because Ronaldo isn't an out-and-out forward. But anyway, that's a slight weakness, but they do get up for these tournaments. 2012, they were very close to making the final. They pushed them to a penalty shootout. The Spain. Germany 2006 again exceeded their expectations in finishing 4th. So, but they do have a problem with the Germans. So, in terms of just head-to-head.
Okay. Alright. So that's Portugal.
Yep.
Portugal. Now let's move on to the 3rd country, which is Ghana.
Another tournament team. Just saying.
Well, it is. Only the 3rd World Cup, but each time they've made it out of the group stage.
Which is a big thing for an African nation, I must say.
It is. So they made last time they made quarterfinals back in South Africa.
Extremely unlucky not to make the semi-finals. There was the infamous Luis Suarez handball incident, missed penalty shootout.
It was their fault. They missed the penalty. No need to discuss that. Qualified pretty easily, actually smashed Egypt in the playoffs, so easy qualification in the end. And in terms of star players, who can make a difference for Ghana this World Cup?
Well, certainly they've got a few people in the middle of the park and on the forward line. Sally Muntari, you've got Asma Gyan, guys like Kevin Prince Boateng. All of these guys made meaningful contributions in the last World Cup, where they had that great run in the group stage against America in the round of 16 and in the actual quarterfinal against Uruguay. So and I think they're the ones that will still step up.
My concern is that, as good as Mark Essien has been in the past, he's pretty much past the prime of his career.
That's why I haven't even mentioned him, because he's just, I don't know, he came back to Chelsea, right? He had the 1 year loan at Real Madrid, and he's barely played.
Yeah, he's barely played.
So I actually forgot about him.
You forgot?
So that's how little he's played.
So essentially they're going to be relying on Gyan and Kevin Prince Boateng pretty much to create the opportunity to score.
Yep. And
to eventually potentially progress from this group.
Yep.
Well, that's Ghana.
Yep.
And finally, we have the United States.
Yep.
Team USA.
Yep.
The 10th World Cup.
Yep.
They actually finished in 3rd spot back in the 1st World Cup.
Yep.
But nobody really cared about the World Cup.
Yeah.
But since then, the best performance has been the quarterfinals back in 2002.
Yep.
They topped the Hex in the qualification campaign pretty easily.
Yep.
Despite a nervy beginning.
Yep.
So, who do you think is going to be crucial for them?
Obviously now the designated player for Seattle these days, it's Clint Dempsey. So he's come over from Europe.
Yeah.
And he was a big impact in the Premier League, and I assume that he's kept that going at the MLS.
Yeah.
So certainly he's probably the most important player at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got Michael Bradley as well
in the midfield.
Yeah, certainly, and Altanur as well. In the front, he's based in Europe as well. So, so they've got a good team cohesion there with Klinsmann. One thing I liked about their campaign in 2010 was the team spirit. They drew with England. Okay, we know what happened with Robert Green, but anyway, they got the result against Slovakia. Extreme. I don't think anyone knows to this day why they weren't allowed that goal to win the game at the end. And then in the last minute, the one against Algeria, they topped the group with England in it. So it was, I was impressed with their team spirit last time. Klinsmann seems to know what he's doing.
Well, they'll need a lot of that in this World Cup, this group.
Yeah, definitely. So it's not an easy group, but they're certainly not. I don't think they'll be pushovers, as people are saying. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So to end our talk about this group, let's make a prediction. Who will progress from this group?
Germany and Ghana.
Germany and Ghana. I say Germany and Portugal.
Portugal, yeah. I knew you were going to say Portugal. Yeah.
He kind of sees the Cristiano Ronaldo factor. He's a massive factor for Portugal. He can single-handedly win games. So for me, Portugal will find a way through eventually.
Yeah. Totally understand why Portugal has a good chance of going through. But I think Ghana the Ghana factor of the last few World Cups. They've found a way. They've found that spirit within that team, and I'm just thinking, it's one of those gut feeling ones. It's not one that I can't say that obviously Ronaldo is superior.
They're gonna do it.
They're gonna do it. So Germany, Ghana for me. Yep. Okay. All right. And that's Group G.
All right. Thanks.